Hello friends, this is Rajendra Mughal. Today we are going to discuss regarding the rheology. Rheology, this chapter, it comes under the subject Physical Pharmaceutics 2. Content of today's presentation: Introduction to the rheology and viscosity, importance of rheology in pharmaceutical sciences, concept of viscosity, shear rate and shearing stress, then Newton's law of flow of fluids and its derivation, various units for viscosity, various terms involved, and last it is how to calculate the viscosity. Let us begin with the introduction, that is rheology. This word it is derived from the Greek language, that is rheo means to flow and logos means science. Okay, so science behind the flow of your liquid, whether your liquid it is flowing through the pipette, whether it is from the burette or through the pipes, all it is covered under the rheology. This rheology it is not only restricted to the liquids, also it applicable for the solid. That is, this is a branch which describes the flow of your liquids and the deformation of solids. So what do you mean by deformation? Deformation means change in shape and size after the application of your force. Let us take the example, that is, suppose if you take the example of your sponge, and if you apply the force by your fingers, then the shape and size of the sponge it will change, and this is called as the deformation of the solids. Now more commonly we are using the term viscosity in pharmacy. Okay, so like suppose say viscosity of your liquids, viscosity of your semi-solid products. So what do you mean by viscosity? So viscosity is an expression of resistance of a fluid to flow. Okay, so what exactly it is? Expression of resistance to flow. So higher the resistance, higher will be the viscosity. This is the general definition of the viscosity. The higher the viscosity, the greater is the resistance, and accordingly we can classify as a less viscous liquid and highly viscous liquid. In this diagram it is shown, that is towards the left hand side you can see that is a ink solution in a water, and second it is the example, it is your honey for example. So you can see from this particular diagram, that is the ink solution in a water. If you slightly tilt the beaker, the liquid easily starts flowing. What exactly it indicates, what exactly it reflects, that is this ink containing water liquid it express less resistance to flow. So that's why accordingly we are saying the liquid it is less viscous. Second, it is your onto the right hand side, that is nearly the beaker it is tilted by 180 degree. Okay, so it is exactly nearly to the horizontal direction, and still the liquid it is very slowly it is flowing. So what is your conclusion from this? That is the honey it will express more resistance to flow, and accordingly we can say that is honey it is more viscous than this ink solution. So likewise in pharmaceutical examples, if you take the example of pharmaceutical liquids, that is your glycerin, liquid paraffin, twin, span, these are the highly viscous liquids. Now what is the importance of rheology in the pharmacy? First, in just brief we are going to discuss, not in detail. So first it is your mixing. So when you are mixing when you are preparing any kind of your solution, your rheology it is very important. Next it is your packaging into the container, whether it is your plastic container, the metal tube or plastic tube, whatever it may be. So uniform filling of your material inside that particular container, in that case also rheology it is applicable. Patient acceptability, again the viscosity of your product it is plays the very important role. Okay, so if you are having the product having the good viscosity, then patient acceptability it is very good. Next it is your physical stability. If you recall from the Stokes law of sedimentation, that is for your dispersion system, then in that case the rate of sedimentation it is inversely proportional to the viscosity. So what exactly it reflects, that is if you increases the viscosity, of your dispersion medium, rate of sedimentation of your particle it will be decreases. Okay, so accordingly we can increase the physical stability. Next it is your biological availability. So biological availability means that is again the release of the drug from the semi-solid products, also it is depends on the rheology. In general, that is higher the viscosity, slower the release of the drug from the product. Okay, so suppose if you want to sustain the drug release, then in that case you have to just increase the viscosity. Next, syringeability, again to remove the content from the bottle into the syringe. Again, the viscosity plays the very important role. Next, it is the extrudability. Extrudability means that is removal of the content from the metal or plastic tubes. Okay, so we are in early morning, we are always using the toothpaste. So this toothpaste, again, when you apply the slight force, your toothpaste, it will easily come out according to the force applied. Okay, so if the viscosity of your toothpaste, if it is a proper, then it serves the all purpose, and if it is not proper, then it may cause the trouble, and the patient and or the consumer acceptability, it will be decreases. Next, it is what do you mean by porability. Next application, it is porability. Again, from the physical stability point of view, as we already earlierly it is a discuss, that is, as we increases the viscosity of your dispersion medium, the rate of sedimentation of your particle, it is decreases. But doesn't mean that is you have to just goes on increasing the viscosity of your dispersion medium. At the same time, your product, it should be pourable from the container. Okay, so if it is not pourable, then it may causes the problem in the for the administration to the patient. And last is your flowability. Again, flow of your solids, again flow of your liquids through the pipes. Again, in that the rheology, it is applicable. Next, it is your Newtonian system. So Newtonian system, simply the fluids or the systems that obeys the Newton's law of flow of fluids, it is generally referred as the Newtonian system. So first of all, let us discuss what do you mean by Newton's law of flow of fluids. The statement is, when the rate of shear is directly proportional to the shearing stress, then system, it is called as the Newtonian system. In later section, we will discuss regarding the rate of shear and shearing stress. So in this particular diagram, you can see that is the shearing stress when it is taken on the x-axis, and on y-axis, suppose the rate of shear it is taken, then the graph, whatever the graph you are obtaining, it gives you the straight line. Okay, so means that what exactly it reflects, that is rate of shear, it is directly proportional to the shearing stress. Next, to understand the concept of your viscosity, what do you mean by viscosity, how to measure the viscosity, after the application of your force, what exactly happens, all this comes under the viscosity, where it is very important point, and again, it is quite difficult to understand this particular concept. So pay attention. Consider the block of your liquid consisting of the parallel layers of the molecules similar to the deck of card. Okay, so if you just recall from the chapter, that is from pharmaceutical subject, pharmaceutical engineering, that is a flow of fluids, in that one point it was there, that is Reynolds experiment. So in Reynolds experiment, accordingly, the flow, it is classified into two types, laminar flow and turbulent flow. So laminar flow means that is your liquid, it is flowing in parallel planes through the pipes. Okay, and this is that kind of your flow, it is called as a laminar flow. And second, again, there is a fluid statics it was there. So in fluid statics, it is represented that whenever the liquid, although it is not flowing, if it is present inside the container, still it is made up of the parallel layers. So same concept, it is applicable for understanding of the concept of the viscosity. That is, you can see at the left hand side, that is a liquid at the rest. You can see that there is a no movement, although liquid is made up of the parallel plates. Starting with the bottom layer, the number it is given, that is 1, then 2, 3, 4, 5, and topmost layer it is your 6. The velocity of each and every layer, it is 0, because your liquid, it is not flowing. Okay, second, that is upon application of the force, then what will happen. Okay, now for that, first of all, you have to understand, that is the bottom layer in the now goes to the right hand side, that is bottom layer, it is fixed, that is liquid under the flow. Above that, it is given, that is your bottom layer, it is fixed. Now how this bottom layer, it will be remain fixed. So again, you have to understand the physics, that is there is a strong adhesive force between the liquid molecule and the surface, whether it is made up from the glass or any other material, the strong adhesive force, it is exists. So that's why the molecules in the bottom layer, it is remains stationary. So that's why it is considered as the bottom layer, it is fixed. On the Another case on the contrary, you can say that is your topmost layer. Top layer, it is directly exposed to the air, and if you recall the characteristic of the your vaporized states of matter, then attraction between the molecule, it is very less or it is nearly zero. So in this case, the adhesive force between the liquid molecules in the topmost layer and that of your air, comparatively it is negligible or nearly it is zero. So that's why these molecules, upon application of the force, it will move with the higher velocity. Now you can see that is a red arrow indicated, that is the site of application of the force, that is the shear force stress F on the top layer it is applied, and after the application the top layer it is moving with the velocity that is 10 centimeter per second. Okay, suppose this is the just example it is taken. Next it is your that is if the bottom layer it is fixed in place and pressure it is applied on the top layer, the liquid begins to flow with the greater velocity. So whatever we discuss, it is given in this particular sentence. Now what will happen? This is the just bottom layer it is a fixed, topmost layer it is moving with the higher velocity. What about the remaining layers? For the understanding of your rate of shear and shearing stress, this is very important. Now the second layer means that is your from the top, the second layer means layer fifth. Okay, so fifth layer that is move with the lower velocity than the top layer because the molecular bonding, that is called as the viscous drag. Now what is the viscous drag? So as earlier again we discussed, that is the topmost layer it is surrounded by the air, so that's why the molecules less adhesive force between the liquid molecules and the air, so that's why these molecules it is moving with the higher velocity. But this second layer from the top, that is the fifth layer from in your explanation, it is sandwiched between the fourth and sixth layer. So it is not surrounded by the air from the top, from the bottom and from the top, it is surrounded by the liquid molecules, and liquid molecules there is a strong cohesive force it is exists, and due to this strong cohesive forces the molecular attraction it is there, and due to this molecular attraction the velocity of your molecules it will be decreases. So that's why you can see that is in the fifth layer the velocity it is given, that is your 8 centimeter per second. So 8 centimeter per second means that is a topmost layer the velocity it is 10 centimeter per second, while in the fifth layer it is only 8 centimeter per second. Velocity it is decreases. Why this velocity it is decreases? Because of the strong cohesive molecular attraction between the top layer and the, you can say that is the fourth layer. Okay, so this change in the velocity or decrease in the velocity it is called as the viscous drag. Okay, this is the concept of your viscous drag. Now this phenomena it will continue till the last bottom layer which is stationary. So now come up there, that is your fourth layer. Then consider regarding the third layer. In third layer again it is sandwiched between the second and the fourth layer. The velocity it is still further it is decreases from 6 to 4. Again between the first the second layer, if you consider between the it is sandwiched between the first and third layer, and the velocity it is further it is decreases. So this decrease in the velocity phenomena it will goes on it will continue till the last layer, the last bottom layer, which is considered, we are considering it is stationary. Again the distance between these parallel plates we are considering it is the 1 centimeter. That is useful in the further discussion. So this is all about the your when your liquid it is flowing. Now what do you mean by shear stress or shearing stress or the rate of shear? So shear stress is defined as the force per unit area which is applied to bring about the flow. So how much force it is required to induce the flow inside the liquid, that is called as the shearing stress. Okay, so it is a mathematically it is expressed as, that is the shear stress that is denoted by capital F is equals to F dash upon A. So in this equation F dash it is a force applied, it may be in newtons or your dynes, and A it is the cross sectional area, it may be meter square or it may be centimeter square. Second, it is your what do you mean by rate of shear, or it is also called as the velocity gradient. So velocity gradient or rate of shear, that is denoted by dV by dr, it is defined as the change in the velocity that is a dV with an infinite change in the distance dr. So from this particular definition we are not unable to understand what is the exact concept of your rate of shear. Now again move back towards your previous diagram. So if you want to, that is a dv, again take the example that is first and sixth layer. The first layer, that is the bottom layer, it is the velocity, it is a 0, while the topmost layer, the velocity it is 10 centimeter per second. So change in the velocity, if you compare the velocity between these two layers, then in that case it is a 10 minus 0. So what is the, how much amount of velocity it will change? That is 10 centimeter per second. Second, it is your with infinite change in the distance. Okay, so as in previous section we discussed, that is the distance between the parallel plate, it is 1 centimeter. So we are considering the first and the sixth layer, so that's why the distance between the first and the sixth layer, it is corresponding to, suppose say 5 centimeter. Okay, so now 10, that is a change in the velocity, it is a 10, and divided by the infinite change in the distance, suppose say it is your 5. So 10 divided by 5, this will be your rate of shear. Okay, suppose I want to calculate the rate of shear for another layer, suppose say between the second and the fourth layer. So fourth layer, the velocity it is your 6 centimeter per second, and for second layer it is 2 centimeter per second. So difference between these two, it is 6 minus 2, it is your 4. And again distance between these two, it is your, between the 2 and second, it is your 2 centimeter. Okay, so 4 divided by again your 2, again the rate of shear, it will be remain same, that is 2, it is 2. Now this is all about your rate of shear. What is the concept? The rate of shear, that is denoted by your G, and mathematically it is expressed as G is equals to dV upon dr. Now Newton's first studied the flow in the quantitative way, and he observed that higher the viscosity, greater the force per unit area required to flow. Okay, so he was the first scientist who quantitatively studied all this particular flow of your liquid, and accordingly he observed that the higher the viscosity, greater the force per unit area it is required, and accordingly he stated the law that is called as, so the rate of shear is directly proportional to the shearing stress. This is called as the Newton's law of flow of fluids. Okay, example of system that obeys the Newton's law, it is a simple liquids like your water, castor oil, chloroform, and your ethanol. Now from the law we can write that is a rate of shear, it is directly proportional to the shearing stress. So accordingly from previous equations, instead of your shear stress, write down it is F dash upon A, it is proportional to, instead of your rate of shear, write down dV upon dr. Next, when you remove the proportionality, you have to incorporate the proportionality constant. Now incorporate the proportionality constant, that is called as the eta. So F dash upon A is equals to eta divided by multiply by dV upon dr. Now finally write down, that is your, instead of your F dash upon A, write down as a capital F, that is a shear stress, is equals to eta, and instead of your dV by dr, that is a rate of shear, write down the capital G, where eta, it is called as the coefficient of the viscosity or directly as the viscosity. Rearrange this equation for the eta, so eta is equals to F upon G. In this particular diagram you can see that is all the test tubes are kept at the same angle, so slightly it is tilted, and the viscosity different products, it is filled inside the test tube. So from the left, the liquid with the less velocity, it is flowing easily, and at the last test tube you can see that is that particular substance, it is comparatively it is very it is not flowing, it is completely steady liquid. Okay, so accordingly you can say that is the first first test tube in the left hand side, it is having the low viscosity, while on the right hand side the viscosity of your liquid it is higher. What are the different units? More commonly we are giving the unit, that is your poise. So what is the poise? The definition of the poise. So definition is, that is a shearing force required to produce a velocity of 1 centimeter per second between the two parallel planes of the liquid, each 1 centimeter in area, and it is separated by distance 1 centimeter. So you have to remember in this definition the three parameters. First, again, that is the cross-sectional area. So cross-sectional area of the planes, it should be 1 centimeter square. Again, distance between the two parallel planes, it should be again the 1 centimeter. And now the force that is required to produce the velocity difference, that is 1 centimeter per second. So if you go to your previous diagram, so that is your distance between the parallel plate, again it is a 1 centimeter. Cross sectional area also, suppose say it is a 1 centimeter square, and how much force, that is the F, it is required to produce the velocity difference, that is 1 centimeter per second. That is called as your poise. In SI system, the units are Pascal second, that is equivalent to the kilograms per meter per seconds. And in CGS system, the more conventional unit, it is your poise, and in other term, that is your dynes into seconds per centimeter square, or grams per centimeter per second, which can be obtained as follows. So from your previous equation, that is eta is equals to F upon G. So F, capital F, it is a shear stress. So we can write that is a F dash upon A. So A, it goes to the denominator. Now next it is your G. So G, it is the rate of shear. The equation, it is your dV upon dr. So dr, it is denominator to its denominator, so it will goes to the numerator. So finally your equation will be F dash multiplied by your dr upon A into dV. Now force it is expressed in terms of the dynes. Dr, that is a distance, it is expressed in terms of the centimeter. A, that is a cross sectional area, it is expressed as centimeter square. And finally dV, it is the velocity, so it is centimeter per seconds. Then centimeter and centimeter, it will get cancelled. 1 centimeter, it will remain centimeter it will get cancelled, and centimeter square, it will remain. And seconds, it is denominator to its denominator, so it will goes to the numerator. So finally your the value remaining, it is your dynes multiplied by seconds upon or per centimeter square. This is the first unit. And the second, it is your, when you, instead of your dynes, if you substitute the value, that is grams multiplied by centimeter per second square, then we will obtain the another unit, that is grams per centimeter per seconds. The more conventional unit for the expressing the viscosity, it is your centipoise. There is a correlation between the viscosity, the poise and centipoise, that is 1 centipoise is equals to 0.01 poise, or 1 poise is equals to 100 centipoise. Like it is like a meter and centimeter likewise. Now again, how to calculate the viscosity? Again we are going considering the same concept of your viscosity. At the liquid at the rest, all the layers are the stationary, the velocity is a 0, they are not moving. Next it is your liquid under the flow. In that case we are considering that is bottom layer, it is fixed. So see towards the right hand side, that is bottom layer, it is a fixed. This layer, it is moving with the velocity, it is 0 centimeter per second. Okay, now we are applying the force. Go to the topmost layer, that is we are applying the force onto the top layer, that is a shear stress F on the top layer. Already we discussed, that is top layer, it is exposed to the air, so that's why due to the less adhesive forces, these molecules will move with the higher velocity. So velocity in this case, suppose for example it is 10 centimeter per second. Okay, and next it is your distance between the parallel planes of the liquid, suppose it is 1 centimeter. Okay, so we are calculating the distance between the first and sixth. So total distance difference between the these two layers, it is corresponding to the 5 centimeter. It is denoted in the center. Now how to calculate the viscosity? That is a red color arrow indicates that is a F dash upon A. Suppose say we are applying 2 dynes per centimeter square, that much force we are applying. And after that, if you want to determine what is the viscosity, how much viscosity of this particular liquid, then it can be calculated likewise. Example, that is F and G can be calculated from the above diagram between first and the sixth plane as follows. First of all, we have to calculate the shear stress. So suppose if you are applying the force 2 dynes and the cross-sectional area of the plate, suppose it is a 1 centimeter square, then your shear stress is equals to 2 dynes per centimeter square. This is first value. Second, the rate of shear, that is denoted by your G. It is considered that is first and the sixth plane, the velocity gradient. First of all, you have to calculate the velocity gradient. So velocity gradient, that is the sixth layer, the velocity of the sixth layer, it is 10 centimeter per second, minus the velocity of the first layer, that is bottom layer, it is 0 centimeter per second. So difference between these two, it will remain, that is 10 centimeter per second. This is the velocity gradient. And already we discussed, that is they are separated by the distance 1 centimeter. So all the layers, they are separate. Distance between the two planes, it is 1 centimeter, and we are considering the first and the sixth plane. So that's why the total distance between the first and the sixth plane, it will be 5 centimeter. Now calculate the rate of shear. That is a G is the equation for this. G, it is equals to dV upon dr. So value of the dV, it is 10 centimeter per second, and value of the dr, that is 5 centimeter. So centimeter it will get cancelled. So final value, it will be 2 per second. Now calculate the viscosity. Now we have the shear stress, that is 2 times per centimeter square, and rate of shear, it is 2 per seconds. Substitute the value, that is viscosity, that is denoted by your eta, is equals to F upon G, is equals to F, value of the F is 2 times per centimeter square, and value of the G, it is 2 per seconds. So after that, the finally the 2 and 2 divided by 2, value will be remain as a 1. So 1 dyne as such. Second, it is a seconds. So seconds, it is at the denominator, so it goes to the numerator. So dynes multiplied by your second, and remaining term, it is a centimeter square. So whatever the example we consider, that is the velocity, viscosity between the first and the sixth plane in given example, it can be 1 times centimeter per centimeter per seconds per centimeter square. Sorry, 1 times seconds per centimeter square. This will be the viscosity. Absolute viscosity of the some Newtonian liquids at 20 degrees Celsius, it is given, that is as we discussed, that is Newtonian system. The examples are simple liquids, the diluted suspension, the colloidal system. Generally it generally follows the Newton's law. So examples are water, castor oil, ethanol, and olive oil. Next, fluidity and your kinematic viscosity. So fluidity, that is, what is the definition? Reciprocal of the viscosity. So it is the reciprocal of the viscosity, that is called as the fluidity. So if you take the example of water and glycerin, so water, it is a easily flowing liquid, so viscosity, it is a less, so that's why the fluidity, it is having the more fluidity. Example second, it is a glycerin, the viscosity, it is a more, so the fluidity will be less. So it is a reciprocal of the viscosity. So it is denoted by symbol, that is your phi, that is phi is equals to 1 upon eta. Next, it is your kinematic viscosity. Kinematic viscosity means, that is the viscosity, it is divided by the density. Now what is the need? If you have the viscosity, then why your viscosity is not directly expressed, viscosity of the liquid, it is not directly represented. So depending upon the method, depending upon the technique or isolation of your different material, the density of the material, it may slightly, it will change. And if the density, it will change, the viscosity of your material also, it will change, which is depends on the density. So that's why most of the pharmacopoeia, like IP, Indian Pharmacopoeia, United States Pharmacopoeia, and British Pharmacopoeia, that is, instead of expressing, they have suggested that instead of expressing the viscosity in the simple viscosity term, express in terms of the kinematic viscosity. Okay, the unit for kinematic viscosity, like for viscosity, it is your poise and centipoise. In case of your kinematic viscosity, it is Stokes and centistokes. The relation, it is the same. Some other terms for viscosity. First, it is your relative viscosity. To understand all this concept and definition, take the example, that is, suppose if you prepared the 1% Tragacan solution in the water. Okay, so let us consider the viscosity of water for a simple understanding, that is a 1 centipoise. And second, that is a viscosity of 1% solution of Tragacanth in water, suppose it is corresponding to 5 centipoise. Okay, so the viscosity of your solution, it is 1% Tragacanth solution, it is a 5 centipoise, and viscosity of your water, it is 1, that is a solvent. Now start with the definition. First, it is your, what do you mean by relative viscosity? That is, it defines as the ratio of viscosity of dispersion to that of the solvent. So what is the viscosity of dispersion? That is a eta r is equals to, the equation is eta r is equals to eta divided by eta 0. Okay, so eta, that is the viscosity of dispersion, how much? 1% solution of tragacan, that is 5 centipoise, and divided by eta 0, that is viscosity of your solvent, that is water, it is 1. So 5 divided by 1, it is answer will be 5. So relative viscosity will be 5 centipoise. Second, the specific viscosity, that is relative increase in the viscosity of the dispersion over that of the solvent alone. So now the meaning of this specific viscosity, that is if you added the 1% solution, 1% weight by volume of the tragacan in water, then due to the addition of your tragacan, how much viscosity of your solution it is increases compared to the water. Okay, that is called as a specific viscosity. Now equation is eta specific, that is Sp is equals to eta minus eta 0 divided by again eta 0. So again take the example eta, value of the eta it is 5 centipoise, minus eta 0, value of the eta 0 it is how much? It is 1, and divided by again it is 1. So 5 minus 1 it is a 4, and divided by finally it is your 1. So specific value of the specific viscosity it will be 4. Next it is a reduced viscosity, ratio of specific viscosity to the concentration. Okay, so already we calculated the specific viscosity, that is a 4 centipoise divided by the concentration. Concentration, that is concentration of your tragacan, that is 1% weight by volume. So that's why again it will remain as such, that is 4 centipoise. And finally the intrinsic viscosity, that is the reduced viscosity, it can be determined at the various concentration of the substance, and the results are plotted on the graph. Okay, so this is the graph that's showing, that is you have to plot the viscosity versus your concentration. The concentration is taken, that is 0 to 5. For example, it is taken on the x-axis, and y-axis it is your viscosity. Next it is your the resultant line can be extrapolated to, that is a C is equals to 0, that is a concentration, that is 0 concentration, to obtain the intercept. So we obtain the different viscosity. The black dots indicates the viscosity at the different concentration. We will get the straight line. This straight line then you have to extrapolate towards the y-axis. The point of intersection, that is it gives you the, that is graph extrapolated towards the 0 concentration. The value of the intercept, it is known as the intrinsic viscosity. So whatever the value of the intercept at this particular on y-axis, this is called as the intrinsic viscosity. This is the meaning, this is the concept of the intrinsic viscosity. What is the use of this intrinsic viscosity? These parameters are helpful in determination of your molecular weight of your polymers. Okay, so in one of the chapter, that is colloids, by using this intrinsic viscosity we can able to calculate the molecular weight of the different substances. Okay, so this is all about today's lecture, that is what is the introduction to the rheology, then concept of the viscosity, then what do you mean by Newton's law of flow of your fluids, what do you mean by shear stress, what do you mean by rate of shear, various units for the viscosity in SI system, in CGS system. Next it is your what do you mean by fluidity, what do you mean by kinematic viscosity, and related terms. This is all about your today's